In today's video, I'm going to be showing you why everybody needs to squat differently. What's going on, everybody? It's Blake Bowman here with Gorilla Zen Fitness, and my objectives for today's video are twofold. One is to tell you why everybody needs to squat with a different stance, why there's no ubiquitous squat stance, and the second objective is to actually show you how to find your optimal squat stance. So to begin, the old school approach to teaching people to squat with feet shoulder width apart, toes pointing forward, has been debunked. Unfortunately, this is still taught by a lot of personal trainers and strength coaches. This style and teaching of squatting does not take into consideration each person's unique hip architecture and structure, okay? So while squatting with feet shoulder width apart, toes pointed forward might work for some people, for other people that might be dangerous and uncomfortable. So what's going to dictate your optimal squat stance is your hip structure itself. In Shirley Sahrmann's book, Diagnosing and Treating Movement Impairment Syndromes, she has in there several documented hip structure variances. These variances are hip antitorsion, hip retrotorsion, and normal hip alignment. Now, in order for me to explain to you what these things are, you need to have a basic understanding of hip anatomy, okay? So what I did is I included a link to a Google image in the description down below. So go ahead and check that out and use that as a reference while I move forward here. If that link no longer works by the time you watch this video, then leave me a comment and I'll be sure to replace it with a link that does work. So now I'm assuming that you have that Google image opened up in another tab somewhere on your screen here. And as you can see, the leg bone, your femur, comes up and then it has a lateral protrusion, okay? The head of the femur, the ball of the socket, the ball on your femur comes in from the side, okay? It's like an L. Okay, so this picture is what normal hip alignment looks like, okay? So if your femur is actually, how do I demonstrate this? If your femur is a capital L, oh my God, can't do that. If it's an L, okay, that's kind of a janky L, but if it's an L and it has normal alignment, it's gonna move in like this, okay? There are several documented variances that are congenital, meaning that people are born with these. It doesn't mean that they're bad, it just means that your hips are not normal. It sounds bad, but it's not bad, okay? So normal is here. There are several documented variances. One is called hip retrotorsion, which means that it's kind of turned like this. The ball is rotated backwards like this, okay? And now the second thing is hip antitorsion, where the ball rests forward like this, okay? We're talking about rotation here. So the degree to which you're either antiverted or retroverted is going to determine your squat stance. So what I want to do right now is teach you a couple methods that you can use on yourself to discover if you have this antiversion or retroversion, okay? My friend Dr. Ryan DeBell made a more comprehensive video on this that you can check out right over here. But what I'm going to do is a quick assessment that's going to give you an idea if you have this structural variance in your hips. So if your hips are antiverted, that means that they're already somewhat externally rotated, okay? So what this means is that when you try to externally rotate your femur, when you try to take it out, try to turn your leg out, you're already forward. So when you try to do that, your femur just runs out of room. It can't rotate anymore. So if you have antiverted hips, basically it's going to appear as though you have less external rotation. It's going to appear as though you have limited external rotation, because when you're standing straight with your toes pointing straight, that ball of your femur is already in that rotated position with your feet straight. Okay, so if you try to turn them out, the ball of your at the top of your femur just literally has nowhere else to go. It runs out of room, okay? It starts hitting the other structures of the hip joint, okay? Also, what you'll notice is somebody with antiverted hips, since they're already in this position, it appears as though they have a lack of external rotation. What you'll also notice is that they have a lot of internal rotation, because there's a lot more room for the ball on the top of the femur to rotate in. So people with antiverted hips will have limited external rotation and increased internal rotation. Okay, and the exact opposite happens with retroverted hips. With retroverted hips, it's rotated back already. So this person will have the ability to extremely externally rotate their hips. There's a lot of room for that to move around. Somebody like that, somebody with retroverted hips, is going to feel more comfortable squatting down with their toes pointed out, femurs externally rotated, okay? It's also important to note that they're going to have decreased internal rotation. So basically, that's how you're going to assess yourself, okay? Like I said, Dr. Ryan DeBell, check out his video over here, made a more comprehensive video on this. But essentially what I'll teach you is a technique where you just sit down and you test your own internal rotation and external rotation, okay? And then you use that data to determine whether or not you have these anteverted or retroverted hips. So what you're going to do is you're just going to sit down, you're going to lift one leg up, and then you're going to externally rotate the femur, okay? So remember, when your foot is coming in like this, your leg bone is turning out, okay? That's external rotation. A lot of people get this confused because they see their foot moving in, so they're like, oh, this is internal rotation. You want to look here, okay? This is what's rotating, okay? Your femur. Femur is rotating out, okay? So I have a lot of external rotation. It's very easy for me to do this, okay? My internal rotation is lacking a lot, okay? I get stuck right here. Same on this side, okay? It's even worse on this side. Stuck, a lot of external rotation. Stuck, a lot of external rotation, okay? So what that tells me is that I have retroverted hips, okay? My hip bones are resting further back. They're rotated backwards, okay? And because of that, I have a lot more room to move in external rotation, okay? When I try to internally rotate, I hit a wall here and I just can't move past it, okay? Somebody with anteverted hips is going to have the exact opposite. They'll be able to really, really internally rotate without lifting their butt up like this. They'll have excessive internal rotation and not very much external rotation. They'll get stuck right here. So it's important to note that what's restricting your ability to internally rotate or externally rotate could be because of soft tissue restriction and not the hard bony architecture of your hips, okay? So it's going to be up to you to kind of discern the difference, okay? If you can't tell the difference, then see a qualified professional. But in general, if it is soft tissue, you might feel like some tightness and you know, in your hip flexor here, your glutes, something like that, maybe your adductors. If it is because of muscle tightness, then release those tissues, okay? But for me, my hips are very, very loose. I roll them out all the time. I do a lot of release work. I just simply can't externally or internally rotate because I hit a wall there, essentially, okay? So keep that in mind. It could be caused because of soft tissue restriction, or it could be caused by the bony architecture of your hip. It's up to you to determine the difference. With soft tissue restriction, you'll be given cues, you know, to a degree as to whether or not it is soft tissue, just by the way the muscles feel. If they tighten up when you try to rotate really, really bad, then that's a good sign. But if you're really, really struggling with this, then I would advise you see like a physiotherapist. So at this point, you should have an idea of what structural variances in the hip look like, okay? So basically, my general recommendation for you would be to, after you've assessed yourself, take that information and then integrate that into a new squat stance, okay? Try out some new squat stances. If you have those retroverted hips, try out a wider squat stance. Externally rotate those feet a little bit, okay? Squat down and see how it feels. Does it feel pinchy in your hips? Are you able to maintain that neutral spine in that position? And does it feel good? Okay, it's all about comfortability here. That's it for today. I hope you really liked this video. If you did, then go ahead and subscribe to my channel right over here. Also, if you haven't been to my Facebook page, go there and like it. And if you haven't been to my Instagram, go there and follow me. I'll include links to both of those things in the description down below. Other than that, I'll see you next time.